Senator Tammy Duckworth is a Democrat of Illinois. She's also a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, Purple Heart recipient, Iraq War veteran, and Senator Duckworth joins me now. First of all, just your views on this attempt by Senator Tuberville, who really played hardball with a lot of what many have said crucial appointments at the Pentagon to get this vote. Does this end now? Does he release this hold? What happens?
Well, it's up to the whim of one man, Senator Tuberville. I hope he does release the hold. These are positions for folks who are going to be people like the commander of U.S. Forces Europe. And the folks who are in those positions now will have to retire because they've maxed out on their number of years of service in the military. And so we're going to end up at a time when there's a war in Ukraine without potentially a U.S. Forces Europe commander. It's absolutely ridiculous. And frankly, I think that it's pretty ironic that Senator Tuberville thinks it's perfectly fine for service women to make decisions about how to use our bodies when we want to go fly helicopters. And he's all for pinning medals on your chest when you lose your limbs like I did in combat. But yet I can't make a decision about my own uterus. It's hypocritical.
Yeah, Secretary Austin, I thought, had an interesting explanation. He says, and I don't know if this is sound or a quote. Take a listen.
Almost 1 in 5 of our troops are women, and they don't get a chance to choose where they're stationed. So almost 80,000 of our women are stationed in places where they don't have access to non-covered reproductive health care. And I heard from our troops, I heard from our senior leaders, I heard from our chiefs and also our secretaries, and this policy is based on strong legal grounds.
I mean, I have to say, it seems sensible to me, and it also seems a crucial part of the Army and armed forces functioning.
And also VA, because so many of our servicemen and women are stationed places where they didn't choose to go. They end up in Alabama because that's the home of Army Aviation, for example. And then they retire there and enter into civilian service on those same military bases because that is their area of specialty. So they end up living as civilians where they choose to continue to serve our nation just in a civilian format on these same bases. So they can't go anywhere else. And now they can't access VA care. And by the way, what the VA is providing is access to abortion care for cases of rape, incest, or to protect the life of the mother. And this is what they're trying to ban, in addition to telling service women that they cannot now ask for permission to travel out of the state to access reproductive health care in a state where they can access the care that they need.
So just to be clear, that vote today, they want to make sure that, I mean, the stated position here is that if a service member is a survivor of rape, becomes pregnant from that they should not have access to abortion care services through military health care.
That's correct. And also remember that we have women who are victims of military sexual trauma. This is an issue in the military. And so there are people who are becoming pregnant in situations where they need access to this care, and they're now not going to be able to get it. And by the way, with the military, what we're talking about
wait a second. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Permission.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I want to make sure that I understand. The resolution failed, right? So the policy remains in place currently.
Right. So there's two policies, one for the VA, one for the DOD. The DOD policy says a woman who is stationed in a state where she can't access the reproductive health care that she wants can go to her commander and say, I need days off so that I can travel to Illinois, my home state, where we do guarantee women's access to reproductive health care, so I can get the health care that I need. Right. Senator Tuberville does not want women to be able to do that. And then also in the VA situation, the VA provides reproductive health care and abortion care if needed in cases of rape, incest, and for the health of the mother.
So there's a question. I mean, I think that obviously I think there'll be some litigation on this. There's of course, in the Senate, there's a little bit of a question of how you're going to prepare for what the court might do with mifepristone. And I'm just curious, as we wait now, it's been sort of punted to Friday, if there are conversations about what legislative steps. Obviously, the Republicans hold the House, so you can't do that. But it does seem worthwhile to press the issue legislatively in the Senate. Should the Supreme Court do something like uphold the district court judge's opinion that FDA has to take it off the shelves, or mailing it violates the Comstock Act of the 1870s.
Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous, right? And so we are going to press the issue, those of us who believe that women should have access to reproductive health care. But remember that this sets a precedence. Any random individual could now go and cherry pick a court, cherry pick a judge, if they want to get something banned and overrule FDA approval. I mean, it could be IUDs. IUDs
right.
prevent implantation of a fertilized egg, and there are people who believe that a fertilized egg is a human being. So are they going to come after IUDs next? This is a very dangerous precedent. You can't have a judge somewhere overruling the FDA.
All right, Senator Tammy Duckworth, thanks for explaining that policy and for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.